Hello, and today we're going to be talking about the Breville Dual Boiler espresso machine, one of my beautiful COVID acquisitions. No regrets. I love this freaking thing, and we're gonna go into a full review of this. It's gonna be a long one because this thing is feature packed. Let's start with unboxing. So after removing the item from the box in the most elegant manner, if you purchase this espresso machine, or really any espresso machine, you know. Comment below, struggle is real if you know what I'm talking about. And it comes with everything that you need to make a good espresso, except the grinder. So you got a stainless steel 16-ounce frothing jug. You have 2 cleaning tablets that will help you with 2 cycles of back flushing. You have 4 baskets, the single, the double dose pressurized, and the single and double dose non-pressurized bucket. You have the tamper and the leveling razor, but that's kind of useless, and I would just chuck it, to be honest. Well, don't chuck it, keep it. So you have a 58mm portafilter, which is a good size. It's not an E61 group head. If you get one from a third party, just make sure that it's compatible, otherwise you're gonna have fit issues. You also have a little needle to clean out the steam wand holes. If you purge your wand before and after using it, you really should be needing this anyway. A blind basket insert for back flushing, also known as a cleaning disc. It comes with 1 water filter as well, which will help with water hardness and decreasing calcium deposits. And it also comes with a hardness strip. This is very user-friendly. In the manual, they'll walk you exactly through all the steps that you need to do very clearly to get started. So I'm gonna skip through that in the video because it's gonna take forever if not. And on the machine itself, there are tons of instructions as well to make sure that you do not mess up. So that was the unboxing. Let's get to the specs. Actually, you know what? This seems super tiny, this machine, but it's not actually the smallest. I'm gonna just bring it forward. It's got this convenient little pop-up lock and roll machine. A lock and roll situation. Ooh, I like that. They should patent it, or I should patent it. I find this pretty big. I don't remember the dimensions, but I will overlay the dimensions right here in post. Not the smallest thing. Some general specs real quick, 15 bar pump, but you're only gonna really be using 9 bars of pressure. And then you have your pressure bar right here, which is really great. If you're between 8 to 10 range, that's generally where you wanna be for espresso. This is one of the things that I look at to just see if I'm in the right zone for making coffee, and I find that very helpful. There is an OPV valve, but it's inside, and Breville really doesn't want you to be opening that up to adjust. It can be adjusted. It will void your warranty, but it can be done. I wish they made it easier. There's hot water as well with this little dial. You can actually do a mod called a Slayer mod, which is apparently reversible and would allow you to pressure profile, making this machine an even bigger beast. Pressure profiling just means you can play with the amount of pressure that's coming out into the puck instead of it blasting full pressure onto the puck. But there's also pre-infusion on this. But the difference between the pre-infusion is pre-infusion would just put water into the puck for a certain amount of seconds at a certain amount of percentage of the full amount, like maybe 60% of the full amount. And that's all things you can program, the time and the flow rate. And then it would blast everything at full pressure. Whereas with the Slayer mod, pressure profiling, which is on much fancier machines, you can slowly play with how much pressure you want out, and it'll slowly wet the puck to whatever you're playing with in terms of flow rate. This is a lot of information. I know I'm trying to do I'm doing my best here. I don't know if I'll do it. We'll see. So far, I'm content with it as is. So this is called a dual boiler, and the reason for that is because there are 2 boilers. One for the espresso, one for the milk. If you don't drink milk-based espresso drinks, I don't see why you would get this. You wouldn't need this. It also means that I can do both at the same time because I don't need to temperature surf, because the temperature between espresso and milk is different temperatures. I don't need to do any waiting. I can actually pull a shot and steam the milk at the same time. And now that I've gotten better at making espresso, I actually do them at the same time, and I just watch the time and I watch the volume with the scale while I'm pulling a shot, and I stop it. I do everything manually just because I find there's small variation still when I'm making my shots. So I rather just do that. I thought I was gonna program them. I haven't used that at all. I prefer having full control. Time is of all the variables, the least important and doesn't have to be as precise. So if it's a second or two off, as long as the yield I'm getting is actually the correct amount. So just a little sidebar. There is a water tank that's all the way in the back. The water will last me probably 3 days because I also do clear water back flushing, which just means that you put this, I think they call it a blind basket, inside and run the water because there's a 3-way valve. That 3-way solenoid valve that releases pressure from the group head, that water actually comes out from a little pipe that's here and goes directly into the drip tray. When the drip tray is installed, the water will go right in there. If you're new to the espresso, all of this might sound a little bit confusing, so I'm gonna try and be as clear as possible, but also not make this video 40 minutes long, because I could easily talk about this for 40 minutes, but I will spare you. A good size drip tray, which can hold quite a bit. I usually empty this out maybe every 2 days and just wash it right away with some soap so it doesn't get all gucky with all that oil coffee residue. Just like anything, the more you regularly maintain it, the better. There is a little thing that can pop out that says empty me. I never have it that full anyway. Then you have your steam wand with this little rubber piece right here. 3-hole steam wand. It gets hot though, so make sure that you use this if you do want to move it around. You have a 58mm portafilter. Oh. Whoops, I forgot to clear the coffee. Oopsie. I will take care of that later. You have the steam lever on the side. At first, I was upset that it wasn't a knob. I thought that would be way cooler. But actually, I like this so much more. It makes it so easy to activate on and off. And also, I can set my espresso machine butted up right up to this panel because it's a steam lever and I don't need to reach down there and try and turn a knob. And it makes it so much easier. Now that I have a steam lever instead of a knob, I'm like, you know what? I'm actually kind of happy I have this. The novelty of the knob would have worn out pretty quickly. And I've read some issues with knobs anyway, having leaking issues. Maybe a steam lever will too, but so far I've not had any issues with that. You have a heated group head here as well, which means that your coffee will not drop in temperature once it reaches here, it gets to your cup. You have a heated top. My cups are always a little bit warm, which is perfect. So Breville gets a really bad rap in the espresso machine world because it's an appliance versus a machine. It's not as easy to fix it yourself. They have full control. You can't even bring it to any repair center yourself. You have to really contact Breville. And that customer service of Breville is, depends who you deal with. It could be good, it could be bad. I've heard of a lot of people sending the machine, getting a brand new one. They don't even bother refurbishing or fixing it. They just send you a brand new one. I tried to contact Breville because I had pressure issues. They were really not the best with customer service. They ended up not calling me back. I may or may not have opened it up and just adjusted the OPV myself. So it gets a bad rap because it's not necessarily the easiest to repair yourself, and also because it's just Breville and you see it everywhere. You probably have at least one friend that has a Breville Barista Express. I know at least 3 people just off the top of my head, 4, maybe 5, that have the Breville Barista Express. That's a really great entry-level way to start in the espresso game. I just went a step above because after playing with the Gaggia Cadorna, I kind of realized I was gonna be into this, and I'm into this. I love coffee, and I love the science of coffee. I feel like it also just gets a bad rep because some people in the espresso community are a little bit snobby. It is a good machine. I really do like it for its features. I don't have experience with other machines. I only had a super auto for like 2 weeks, the Gaggia Cadorna Barista Plus, which I also reviewed. But having done a lot of research, having seen a lot of other things after, having seen other comments, for the price and for the features that you get, I don't think you could get beat. They've added so many things in here that just are such good design choices. Underneath the drip tray, you have a unlock wheel, which is very convenient, and it pops the machine up, makes it easy to move, and then you pop it down, and then it locks. If you really apply a lot of pressure, you can definitely still move the machine with this lock in place. Generally, it's not an issue. The water tank view here, you can refill it from the front too, so you don't have to keep pulling it in and out, which is the case for a lot of machines. So I can pretty much leave it back there and it's not in my way. I find myself just refilling it regularly anyway, just because it's so easy to refill since you have that water level here. That's something that not all espresso machines have, and that is mighty, mighty, mighty convenient. So you never end up in a situation where you run out of water. And also, behind here, you have a little extra convenient tool storage. And this is where I keep a couple of my tools. That's very convenient, and I love that. There's a magnetic tamper, which is really cool. The plug on the back, really, really flush here. And also, there's a cord surge. You could put some of that extra cord in there. Cord itself, you have this, so you can easily pull it out of the outlet. I'm not gonna get into cleaning schedule in this video. If you want me to make a video about that, leave a comment below and I will put that together. It'll be applicable to pretty much all semi-autos, but really basic ones that I tend to do just on a daily basis when you're using it. Before I use the steam on, I purge a little bit. After I use the steam on, also purge a little bit. When I'm done with the coffee, I pull this out, knock it into my knock box. Then I run some water just to clear out a little bit. Then I put the blind basket in and do a clear back flushing just to get all of the oily residue a little bit out of the three-way valve, and it goes right into the drip tray. That just clears everything up, and that's just on a daily basis. And it sounds like a lot, and it sounded like things that I didn't want to do and I was annoyed with, which is why I originally went with the Super Auto. But once it becomes part of your routine, and that takes like a day or two to really get used to, it becomes so simple and second nature, and it doesn't become steps in your head, and it's actually not really that long. So let's talk about some menus on the Breville and the different things that you can do with this. To turn on the machine, press the power button, of course. It takes about 4 to 5 minutes for it to get to temperature, but I would suggest that you have the machine running for about 10 to 15 minutes to really make sure that all of the parts are warmed up before you were to make a shot. You can go into the menu, you could play with things like the 1 cup and the 2 cup volume, which is here. You can go by time or by volumetric, but I prefer time. I'm pretty much manually pulling a shot. Just gives me more control. And if my puck wasn't perfectly done, then at least the yield is always set, because I can look at how much yield is coming out with my scale and then just manually stop it. Then you could set the shot temperature, and the shot temperature goes from 190 to 205 Fahrenheit, which is a good amount of variety. And then you can auto start it. Right now it's set to off because I accidentally reset it earlier. And I can have it to go at 10 a.m., which is perfect for when I wake up for my work day. And then you roll out of bed, and I don't usually make my coffee right away, so by the time I do, it's nice and ready. This is to do your back flushing with the tablets it comes with. Once you run out of those tablets, and even before you do, I would suggest you get this CAFIZA powder, and it will last you a long, long time, and it's cheap. And you can also use it to soak your portafilter, which will get rid of some of the coffee residue. Important, I would say, to do that. Now, there's also another menu. Once it's on, if you press down the up and down, you can play with pre-infusion. You can play with the duration of the pre-infusion, so the amount of water that goes into here just to pre-wet the puck before the full pressure goes on. You can also play with the flow rate. So 60 is the default, and they recommend 55 to 65. I remember watching a video from Seattle Coffee Gear. They played with it, and the 60 was the default, worked well with them. This is what I was talking about for the Slayer mod. If you want to manually play with that flow rate, that would basically override this, and you would be able to play with that pressure that's hitting the puck. Then you can also adjust the clock, of course, so that it works with the auto start. But wait, there's more. If you long press here and you click on power, you now have an advanced menu. Most people, I would say, are not going to run into this, but you know, it's there. This is descaling, which is something you'll have to do once in a while to get rid of the lime scale, especially if your water is hard. You adjust the water hardness anyway with the little strip that they give you. Then you could play here with the temperature. You can set it to Fahrenheit, or you can play with Celsius. This is steam temperature. I've just left it at the default, but you can play with the steam temperature as well. This is the machine sound. Machine sound, off, low, or high. By default, it's set to low. You can play here with volumetric control. You can work by duration or by volume, and by default, it's by duration. And that's it for the advanced menu. So let me go through the steps of making an espresso now, just to show you real quick what it can do. By the way, my latte art, I worked on it. Pretty good right now. Like I said, the grinder, you need your own separate grinder, so I have a Sette 270. Make sure your machine is all nice and warm, ready to go. You'll grind your coffee into the portafilter, the dose that you want. You'll level it, you'll tamp it, lock your portafilter in. You will start the extraction and you'll check your yield that you want in about the time frame that you want, hitting the bar pressure of the 7 to 10 acceptable or preferred range. That's also debatable, but that's generally the range that you're looking for. And if you're going for a milk-based drink, you would steam your milk and then pour it. I've pulled shots for a few people, some that are very big coffee aficionados, and they really liked the shot that I made. So I think I'm quite there. Through a lot of trial and error, you'll get it. If you follow some basics, you'll also understand it quite quick. I did a lot of research, a lot of reading, because coffee is science. It actually is science. It's fascinating. And so I have all these notes here to help me understand what's going on and develop my taste palette and be able to tweak the different variables based on the results that I'm getting and then the result that I want to get to. And it's really, really fascinating. If you want to see a video about this, let me know in the comments below. I might make one, but there's so many more professionals that can help you with this. I got information, just Matt Perger and James Hoffman, for example, two people you could look up to find information. With that, you'll have plenty to go off of. That is two of many people that I consulted, well, not personally consulted, but referred to in terms of understanding the science of coffee and being able to get a better espresso shot. So that is my review of the Breville Dual Boiler, going over all of the features. I love this machine. Design-wise, I find it very meh. It's very boring looking. That's the only thing that I really don't love about it. It's a little bit bigger than I would have wanted as well, but you know, you can't win at everything. In terms of features, I could not be happier with this machine. I don't really see myself changing this anytime soon. If I do, it's not because of lack of any features, but because I just want something, just a shinier, fancy machine. But this was not necessarily the cheapest. So this is not a machine that I'm gonna let go of. Breville is a company that tends to go on sale quite often though, especially like Black Friday, Christmas, whenever. So I would say if you're not in a rush, keep an eye out on those sales. This machine was $17.99 Canadian. I got it for $13.99 Canadian because there was like a 20% off sale. Definitely higher than I would have thought when I first started this espresso journey. And that's just the coffee machine, it's not including the grinder. But espresso is not a cheap thing. Now I understand why they charge so much at a coffee shop. They're not even actually charging that much. It's expensive, especially if you go for third wave coffee, which you know you should. It's just better quality and usually better for the environment, better for the producers, better for the farmers, better for everyone. It's not cheap by any means, but it's an investment and it's now my hobby. And every morning, this is something that I look forward to. Sometimes it's pretty much the only thing that's gonna get me out of bed because I really don't wanna get out of bed, not a morning person. Then I think about making my coffee and it just brings me joy. Sometimes it frustrates me, but usually brings me joy. Let me know if you have any questions below. I think I covered everything. I tried to cover everything. I tried to make it as short as I could. Like, comment, share if this helped you out. That would help me out, you know? And subscribe if you aren't already. I'm planning on releasing more coffee content. I'm also planning on releasing a video of some additional accessories I got for my entire espresso game that are also budget friendly. So stay tuned for that and check the description. It might already be in the description, the link there.